you.
Got off that table. Because I know you had sent me some. Tracy got it.
Okay, I'm taking them to people I signed up, or do you?
If you want to, you can take some.
What is the sign up thing for? Like where you put?
That's kind of what it was. We can talk about
That way
It's
you
up-
drink a
it's up to
monster
you.
at
I didn't know if someone else was just doing the delivering, or if
Drink like 4
what was the point of putting
I
everything?
know where I think those people.
For real?
Said, hey, these people.
I can't even consume one of those. My heart will literally feel like it's exploding out of my chest.
It's an average heart rate. You want what you want. Like, just go.
Just. Is that gonna shut down?
All right.
Okay, I got what you want.
What's that? What's wrong? I'm sorry.
Are we good?
We're still recording?
We're good. All right.
Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Part of our introduction, we'll read the district mission statement.
I think we're good.
You can just leave the name off.
Should I just leave it off?
Because it's still recording, so.
In partnership with the communities, the mission of the Dilworth-Glidden Felton School District is to educate individuals in an environment of trust and respect so they become self-directed, responsible, lifelong learners. Well, we have everyone here except for Laura. Also, we have present is Marcus, Tracy, and Jeannie Holman. No visitors. And do we have any changes to the agenda?
We do not. No, we do not.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Adopted. Nicole, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brittany. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to number 5, public comments and rebel recognition.
Well, I got a bunch tonight.
All right.
A bunch of rebel recognition. If you guys have been watching the news or reading the paper, there's a few pretty neat things. We'll start out with senior Ronan John. Got his Eagle Scout project. It was building that chessboard in that park in Moorhead. Had a deal on WDAY, so congratulations to him and his Eagle Scout. Also, I think the Inforum, we have Aubrey Lambert, she's a junior at DGF. She is joining the Minnesota Youth Council, and she's going to be on the board, and she's going to represent Minnesota's Congressional District 7. Easy for me to say. On the council, and it covers the majority of western Minnesota. She hopes to bring rural views to issues the council can take on. Ellie Boyd, 1,000 digs the other night, so congratulations to Ellie. And then Alex Mather got put up for the 2025 Chapter Facilities Award of Excellence. Out of 5 chapters, he was chosen as the West chapters. So Alex was selected, and congratulations to him. The award recognizes facility staff that are not management, who demonstrate outstanding dedication, exceptional service, and unwavering commitment to maintaining a clean, safe, and welcoming environment for everyone who enters their school. So Chase had put him up for that, and he was the winner of the Western Division. So congrats to Alex. So,
He always does it with a smile.
always, yeah.
I'll do that.
Yep, no matter what's going on, he's always smiling. So congrats to all those people. And it's awesome. Yeah, it is.
Any other rebel recognition?
A little shout out to all the teachers, staff, and everybody here for conferences today and tomorrow. We're around the home stretch of the much needed NEA break. And I know it's going to be a marathon for all staff the next couple days. And so just thank you for all the extra work that you're putting in to keep our families up to date on how their kids are doing.
Any other rebel recognition? All right, we'll go on to reports. We'll start with 6.1, business manager report. Marcus.
Thanks for having me again. So first we'll just go over the summary that we have, showing the board bills for this last few weeks. There was really nothing unusual in the last few weeks. It stretched over a 3-week period rather than 2 weeks, but the amount wasn't really unusual, there was just a lot of them, a lot of individual checks. So as far as how September went, you can see the revenues there. This pay, like this one had some revenues for this year and last year, so they kind of are paying off some receivables for last year. So with these first couple months, with August and September especially, they help us get ahead a little bit on the revenues, just because we might not have as many expenses, but they're paying off some receivables and then giving us some revenue to kind of get a little ahead of the expenses that will be coming now that teachers and all the other staff are getting fully paid. As far as payroll, this is close to what it's going to be going forward, but in September we did have only one pay period for non-certified, but the certified teachers did get, 2 pay periods now, so it's closer to in line with what we're going to see the rest of the year, but still, we've got that one pay period, and I mean that'll add to the total. And then, yeah, like I said, as far as the summary, you're looking at a surplus just because there is going to be a little more revenue in these first couple compared to expenses. So, any questions as far as that? And as far as the revenues and how it's broken out, they do, direct us as to how they're going to be broken out between funds. So Fund 1, they'll tell us that, a lot of the Gen Ed aid there. Fund 7, that's going to be just kind of keeping us in line with the money we need to pay the bond bills going forward. So, any questions on that?
How does that compare against if we look at like the prior year? So like last September, if we looked at last year this time, I mean, similar?
Yeah, I would say it's comparable just because if you were to look at like our ideas payments is where they come from in on the data reports and analytics. Typically the 931 is, it's going to have a decent amount for this year's revenue, and then it's going to pay off some of last year's. And because we're not really have huge swings in enrollments, and we do have the swings, but yeah, there's not too much difference. Yeah. And then there's going to be variations if our debt payments were a lot different, but those are kind of comparable to last year too. So like the Fund 7, that's going to be. Then we can go on to the budget to actual comparison. So that I think one of the things that we might have to look at is we do have a percentage that's below what we would expect, so 14.6 compared to 17. But I think that does have to do with that pay period kind of not pulling in. September doesn't have 2 pay periods for the non-certified. So we might have to look at adjusting those percentages now that the last 2 years we have had. Normally, in the past, we did have the non-certified get fully paid in September, but when we went into time sheets, or away from time sheets to punch it in, this has changed. So, I mean, last year we were showing 15.5, this year we're showing 14.5. So, I mean, we're doing better with our, budget to actual, but that's kind of why it's not in line with that 17. But we didn't really have anything unusual in September. That would be worth going right now. Any questions with how that looks?
So one thing, the audit is not done obviously yet, but that report will come in November. Anything you want to share with that, or maybe not yet at this time, or what do you think?
Yeah, I haven't really heard back too much. I think they're in the review phase right now, so I wouldn't want to say whether, I don't think there's going to be anything unusual that comes up, but I guess I'm not too comfortable saying the numbers.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, if we say it's a public meeting and then it comes out a little different, we want to make sure we're in line with the auditors. It is what it is, so.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yes, but the audit is happening.
All right, well, we'll go on to 6.2, activities director report.
All right, I just thought I'd do a fall activity recap. I'm not gonna go through all of that, it's all in here, just with numbers, counts the numbers, of activity or of athletes. Football, one of the biggest things is with our 7th and 8th grade, we tried something different this year. And I'm waiting, this last day of the season is actually today. And so I'm waiting to hear how it went from my coaches. I've had some informal conversations with them about it, but it was different. Each team, each grade, I should say, got 10 games, but one team. And so 4 of the games were combined. It was a lot of kids, like 34, 32 on one team. And then 6 of the games were split into 2 teams, so then they got 3 games each. So it saved us a lot of money, and so that's one of the reasons we did it. Another reason would be, last year our current 8th graders were in the FM league, and we were put in the B, so there's A and there's B. We went into the B, and we kind of dominated that, but if we were in the A, we think we would have gotten pretty destroyed, and likely injured too. I mean, you're playing Moorhead, you're playing the Fargo teams, you're playing big schools, and they made a rule, and it's not just because of us, but they made a rule that if you're in there with one team, you have to be in the A league. So if you're not in that, it's hard to find games. You can't just find two full teams of football. It's not like other sports where you shouldn't play multiple games a week. I mean, I know Troy has a kid in middle school too, and there was one week, was the last week, there's 3 games. Now, not every kid played all 3 games, but that's a lot of football games. So it's hard to find games. So I'm curious to see how this worked out, if this is something we'll look at doing in the future, if these numbers continue. So yeah. Volleyball, the biggest thing this year, we had illegal jerseys, as did most of the state. And it was a big deal. I didn't even share this with Shannon yet, but the Minnesota State High School League sent out an email last week basically apologizing and saying they're not going to enforce it anymore this year, and going to give all teams another year. So we were fine and we figured it out. But like football teams, it was a big deal for them. So it all kind of worked out. But next year, we should be replacing those, if everything goes well. We should be replacing those jerseys anyway, so it'll be a catch-up point. And then there's other numbers down there. I don't need to go through all of those with you. Looking forward to winter activities, we have some new coaches, so that's exciting. Still looking for a Ski Girls basketball coach. Other new coaches are listed. Tonight there's 2 resolutions to approve me applying for 2 grants to the Minnesota State High School League. The first one is, the names are Grant A and Grant B, very basic names, but the Grant A is basically based on students who are participating in MSHSL activities and on free and reduced lunch. And you can apply, you can ask for a certain amount. And if we were granted that, it would help offset some weight room costs as well as the tuition assistance we provide for students being in activities. Grant B is a grant that assists districts with costs related to health and safety, leadership, and transportation barriers. So we always do this late bus, and it goes to Dilworth back, and then we also started doing it to Felton and back now too. It is expensive. So one of the things that I want to apply for is just to recoup some of that money. We do charge students, it's $25 or $30,000, I don't remember off the top of my head, for a season, but obviously buses are well. So yeah, we'll see if we get some of those. Online ticketing update. I think it's been going really well. The first couple games were definitely, people were learning. But now, like Sarah, I will email the AD ahead of time, a week out for all the activities coming up. Hey, please get this out, we're online only. Volleyball has been seamless, honestly. There has been like no issues at volleyball games. They also use those for our tournaments. Tessa runs 3 volleyball tournaments in September, beginning of October. And it's really nice because I could just pull up the report and see how much that tournament made, which was really nice. So we use the online ticketing for that as well. We will be able to use less ticket takers now this winter. I think now that things are kind of rolling, we can go And during sections, GoFan is what the section is using, so that won't be anything new. We will definitely be hosting section events this year, this fall, for football and volleyball. And so that'll be nothing new for our fans, which is nice. Looking forward to next year, all our fall schedules for next year, I have all those done. Weird thing next year, and people are gonna think like I'm being crazy, but everything is a week later because of Labor Day. So like typically football, like this is our last regular season week of football. Next year, there's a regular season football game the week after NBA. And everything is just a week later. And so it's just gonna be a weird year. People aren't gonna be used to it. Just a heads up. Let's see, anything else? I just have some other notes on there. Record boards. They're on their way. Well, they're in production, I should say. I don't think they're quite on their way yet. I haven't got it shipping. But we worked with Sanford and they are purchasing us record boards. So we will have them all in the hallway. Don't exactly know where yet because I like to see exactly how it will look, but that will be awesome. So I'm really excited about that.
I have a question.
For Keith.
With the online ticketing thing?
Yeah.
Will we be able to pull data from that, like how many students came to each, like,
For every single event,
yeah,
I can pull that.
would be,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in looking at that. That's
Yeah,
all
which
right.
is nice, because in the past, just with the ticket, you have no
Right.
idea, like, oh, how many kids are at this game? Yeah, you don't really
Like how many
know, but-
season passes were used and
Yeah.
purchased and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
and I
would
almost
like to
printed
look at
some of that stuff to show you guys. I'm like, oh, I don't want to see all that.
Give it a year.
Yeah.
I mean, like, right? It'd
Yeah,
be,
yeah.
I'm
It's gonna be
curious.
fun.
No, it is super
Yeah.
interesting, and it's like the click of a button, it's so easy to use.
Yeah,
so.
I like that. It's
Yep.
easily, like, tracks data for us too, not just like a seamless with cash thing,
Right.
but, yeah,
For sure.
cool, thanks.
Has there been much frustration from
I mean,
technically?
typically, there's maybe somebody from an opposing team that's frustrated, but then they find out they're usually free if they're older than 62, so they're fine. Honestly, like, that's honestly how I feel like it usually is. And they love, like, that we take cards. Like, you know, you don't have to buy it on your phone, the ticket on your phone. We will take a card at the door, which I think has avoided a lot of those frustrations. I feel like there would be a lot more if we did just take a card.
Did we fill the girls' basketball positions?
We are for high school,
Yeah.
just C girls basketball. We're looking for
Ninth grade, right?
ninth grade.
So we filled the JV.
John Dumars is up to JV, so we're looking for C now.
There'll be 4 levels of that, 4 teams, just the 3, okay.
C JV varsity, yeah. And a lot of teams, the C team here kind of gets the shaft and we try to fill it with other games, but a lot of schools now don't have a C girls basketball team. We're
Kinda
one of the few, yeah.
Like volleyball was, I saw this year too. They-
Yeah, and we're different in volleyball too, because we have 4 levels of
Yeah.
volleyball, so, yeah. Those teams, yeah.
One more question.
Yeah.
The fall play,
Yep.
who can participate in that?
7, 12 can,
Okay.
but typically 9 through 12 are the ones that get the roles.
Got it, okay, thank you.
Sometimes there's middle school.
Yeah, there's sometimes they will do a middle school one, he isn't doing one this year, that I know of, unless he's gonna do one later, but, yeah.
One thing I will say too, so she talked about the weird next year and the schedule is gonna be a little wonky. I did bring it up again last week when I met with the union leadership, about next year's calendar. If there's any thought at all of going early because of how it falls this year, I wanna talk about that right away. So they were gonna talk to their executive council as well, because they said those are things that we gotta get taken care of sooner than later, which for you, did you hear much of that with ADs or any other schools doing it that you're aware of?
Well, I mean, I think Moorhead is, I don't know. You've not heard?
Okay, I haven't heard that.
They're doing.
Yeah, because I think the state said you can,
Yes, the state has allowed it for,
Yeah.
so you can start earlier, just
so
because.
it'd be
of
like
all the
September
rules.
2nd, I think, because it's the 8th, 1st.
Yeah.
September 1st would be the Monday before.
Yes, yeah, because the Labor Day now is like
7th.
yeah, it's like the next week, so you can start in September if you want to. So I brought it up to them again, I brought it up this summer actually with them, saying, hey, this is gonna be a possibility. And then now I visited with them again, I said, we just need to make some decisions, because I gotta bring it to the board too and say, should we do this or not?
And I wanna, like, with that, like, kind of talk to Brooke about that, but just like with coaches, because that will impact, like they always do like 2 weeks of like 2-day practices. Well, now they have workshops one of those weeks.
I
And so I just want to be able to have those conversations with them, like maybe you'd have a morning and an eve, it would just look different, whatever that may be, but.
Have you heard, I'm sorry, have you heard from, okay, so more, have they?
Well,
in
yeah,
our
they said that they
conference, did you
think.
hear much of
Did
that?
I do that? I haven't.
Okay.
But I had, you have a conference meeting coming up next week.
I think that's gonna kind of start to happen now, like it's time for schools, we try to make it in February before. It's gonna, with this tweak potentially, I think schools are kind of like us, where I want to get this going now so we kind of know, or we make a decision early so all the activities that may be affected, we have time to plan for it, hopefully. So, okay, just wanted to see what other people were saying.
Kind of on the track of calendar, I think in the past there was a calendar committee and now I don't think there is. Maybe that would be something to consider again, being as this is like a unique situation.
Yep, that's why I asked them to bring it to their full council,
Sure.
just because they already meet with them. So I asked those two, I said, can you bring it to your council and whatever, and I said, we can meet as a
Like
council
a
with
full
them.
membership?
They're executive council for their
okay.
membership. And I just, because they had a meeting after I met with them, I said, please bring the calendar to them and see what they think. So let's get input from everybody there, so, yeah. We'll see what they say after that.
I do have one question. With the GoFan statistics, are you able to pull enough data to approach a conversation with like Jason McCoy to see if there's something where we could recoup some of those costs for the number of students that come to the games and use that fund to use that as an activity, sponsored by this grant is free student passes. I think that would increase our number of kiddos going to games. And I also, it is, I agree. But from my understanding, the attendance to some of those other one-day events are pretty limited. So as opposed to spending money on a DJ and bounce houses or whatever, kids could have something to do multiple days a week, or at least have the option to do
Yeah,
that.
it's easy, like I can pull it up on my phone and see how many student activity passes have been purchased.
Sure. Because I just
I think
think,
it's like $12,000-ish worth.
okay, because I just think that might be a good use of the Jason McCoy grant. I know it's not called the Jason McCoy grant, but that's how I think of
Wait,
it.
that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
last year of that grant, is
Right.
the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, but I know other schools have continued.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Because when I was in Holly, they used it, and then it looked a little different, but they still got a lot of grant money from it,
Certainly
so
something I could.
just something to think about.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Katie? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. 6.3, early childhood. Great.
All right, I put something in here to spot, but overall, for early childhood this fall, it's very busy. We have technically 6 classrooms, we have 4 school readiness rooms, and 2 TOTS rooms. Of the school readiness kiddos, we have 66 of those 79 that are full-time. They're coming Monday through Friday. The part-timers, we have 13, and they come Monday, Wednesday, Friday for just the mornings. What that, the 19.75 or the 16.5 just means, overall, if we have all of those kiddos there and kind of intermixed together, those school readiness classes are running at a ratio of like 19.75 kids per room. On the days that the part-timers are not there, they're running at about 16.5 kids per room. TOTS, with that, we have 28 kids. What we try to do there is on the days that the TOTS kiddos come, the part-time kids, we primarily put those TOTS kids with Allison after their morning meeting. And then we kind of keep the ratios at, Solveig will have 18 and Allison will have 10. So that it's just a smaller group with one individual. With that said, when you look down at our staffing overall, each school readiness class has a teacher, a para, and a sped para. We strategically put all of our sped kiddos and we spread them out based on need into each classroom, just so that it made it a little bit more efficient in the classrooms and a better setting for all kids. For the TOTS, you'll see that we have the teacher, we have paraprofessionals, plural, and sped paras, just just because with our TOTS kiddos right now, and our school readiness kids, we have probably 18, 19 kids right now that are SPED identified. They could be receiving speech services, para one-on-one support, or additional services that they need. We're also in the process right now of evaluating another 6 students. Today, I and Shelley, our ECSE teacher, SPED teacher, we met with 4 families just today, just to look at needs that we see in the classrooms. We have, some students right now, when you think that they're coming in at 3 and they turn 3 in August, they're a very young 3. So some of them not being exposed to daycare, any setting that would allow them to share, to walk in a line, just some of those basic skills. Some of that we see, we probably have about 4 or 5 students that are just eloping, they're running from the room. So we are really identifying those students, trying to see what we can do to offer support, and working closely with families to see how can we get in and do an evaluation. And like I said to Lake Agassiz is, yes, we're going to identify them and offer them support, but we also need to recognize that they will need para support. So just so you know that you will get that bill. So we're just making sure that we are we can put on paper an IEP, but if we can do that, we also need to follow up with adding those services. So that's about 24 or 25% of our student population in early childhood would be receiving SPED services. So be it speech, ECSE, anything like that, those numbers are higher right now. The good thing to that is they're getting into our program at 3 or 4 so that we can meet their needs, offer those services so that hopefully by the time they get through TOTS or school readiness, then we're gonna see some of those services dissipate and they'll be better prepared for kindergarten. That's how we look at it. So just know that we are doing evaluations all the time.
Do you think it's really a SPED need, or is it just because they're not exposed to the things you said before?
I think it's a mix, Brittany.
A mix.
I really do. Some of the students that we see that are coming in, they tried to get into our program last year, but you only have so much space, right? And we do see that we are getting more of the Head Start kiddos. Sometimes that they might have more higher needs, and our staff will go over there and kind of service some of those students that they truly have come back to our team and said, we feel that this DGF family would benefit by coming to early childhood versus going to Head Start because they can get this, and this through us. So those are some of those kids, some of those students that we see now this year that we have never seen last year. Some of them have come from Head Start. Head Start right now has a waiting list. DGF, we have a waiting list. We can't add any more kids to these classes, or we might be looking for teachers. And I would truly say this is a good, I don't want to say problem, but a good problem to have. I mean, we're sitting at 107 kids in preschool. And when you look at like school readiness, I would venture to say if I had 4 or 5 of the school readiness teachers, they would probably say to me, Tracy, we really could have had 5 sections in school readiness. Yeah, I know. But we're making do with what we have. And if some of these students decide to stay on another year in school readiness because they came in so young, they could be probably doing 3 years, 4 years of preschool. Just because of their age. So anyway, but those overall are where we're sitting. And again, for school readiness, I mean, this year, we have really, really worked hard on trying to identify those students that possibly might need some individualized instruction. Our teachers are phenomenal about communicating on things that are that they're seeing patterns on. Just the 4 4 families that we met with today, we have either spoken with them on the phone multiple times, or we've had more than one meeting with them, and we're really almost a month into school. But it is truly, some of our students have started out full-time at 3 years old, not being exposed to anything. Some of them, it's too much. So we've had a couple students where we've literally backed off and said, instead of 5 full days, let's go back to 3 full days or 3 half days. Some kiddos, we find that when they get to lunchtime, they're done. They're tired. We have some kiddos that they're tired and they don't want to wake up. They don't want to get up from nap. So some of those families we've worked with and said, okay, let's go back to 3 half days, 3 mornings. And like, for example, some of our TOTS kiddos, they might now be just coming instead of like normal part-time, 2 days a week, half days, they might be coming 3 days in the morning and they go home at lunchtime, just so that we can see some growth and we can see them learn to walk from the green space across the street, holding the rope, here to the lunchroom. It's just those little milestones, or not eloping from the room. You know, these teachers have their tennis shoes on and they're going, I'll tell you. But lots of conversations through Bright Will with these families. And I would say that they would agree that, you know, we're trying to be very diligent on the communication. TOTS again, we're utilizing, I mean, in our TOTS room right now, I would say we probably have 2 part-time paras in there that kind of share a spot, but we also have a sub that we've identified that you just need to be available for us, and it's just that consistency for kids. So if you walk in the TOTS and you're looking around, it's, you know, because we need that para support. But what we've done is we've split them now. We have them in 2 different rooms, so it's not overwhelming even for the child. Additional highlights for us are all of our teachers now have that high school training, which that curriculum training, 2 of them just finished it this summer, so we got those done. But we're really collaborating with SPED. That is a daily, regular conversation with them on what we can do to meet the needs of all of our diverse students. And again, 18 right now and 6 more being evaluated. And I anticipate probably 2 or 3 of them ending up with an IEP. And the other 3, it's just learning that the behavior you need to demonstrate in the classroom. We do have a waiting list right now, and I would say 3, what that means is 3 have actually gone out there and signed up. There's more that have called and they said, well, we're not gonna sign up or even request to be in until we know there's a spot. So that number could be higher. Again, professional development, we're working with Lake Agassiz and adding 4 additional 2-hour blocks of training down at Lake Agassiz with all of our other paras in the district, making sure our staff go to that. Community outreach for us, we continue to identify students that might be benefiting from our program. I know Heidi Hunter is just a phenomenal advocate for any kid that needs some speech needs, does a great job with that. Shelley Eldinger, top-notch SPED teacher for our program that came from Lake Agassiz, so does a great job just getting families to really buy into an IEP. You know, people think special ed, my students identified, but you know, the message that we're sharing is the sooner they get into our program, the sooner we can provide services to allow them to grow and maybe get off that IEP. So that's kind of been how we've been messaging that communication with our families. We've had lots of screenings this fall. We do all of them, even kids that are in kindergarten that haven't been screened. We probably have about 12 in kindergarten that we prioritize, we need them screened. We probably had about 40 when we started the year. That means that they probably didn't come here, they weren't in any of our programs, so we're trying to do cleanup on those. And we have 12, 13 that it's been hard to get them in here. Even though they're in the room, we need their consent to do the screening. So we're working on that. We did do a field trip for all of our preschool kids. If they wanted to go, they could ride the bus to Pumpkin Patch, so that was last week. As we look ahead, we decided that as a team that We did not feel preschool it was appropriate for us to do conferences in October. Some kids are only coming 2 mornings a week. We needed to really get to know those kiddos. So preschool staff have really, emphasized we need to do ours in November. So ours are moved back to November, just so you know that. And that's been on the calendar, and Brooks updated that for us. And just trying to continue to collaborate with our kindergarten teachers so that they can see those screenings, to see what's happening to those kids in their classroom, so that they can offer the support on their end as well. We're already identifying March 16th of next year as the day we open registration for preschool again. I know the team has already been talking about what makes sense next year for, especially our TOTS program. Do we offer 5 full days a week? And my message is families want that. Families need to have that option. And I would still recommend part-time for our part-timers, because they can choose if they want to come 2 mornings or 3 mornings. We might offer a three morning a week session. But we'll come back with more recommendations, one to our advisory council after I've kind of finalized it with our team, so that we can make that decision and recommendation, probably January or February. Also, working with Chase a little bit. We are utilizing that if you drive by the west side of the elementary for our playground. But our staff say it'd be nice to have some little bit of wind coverage around there with the wind. Chase is looking into that. I said, if it's a lot of money, don't worry about it, we'll bundle up, right? But he's looking at maybe some fabric like there is along the playground, to see if that's a possibility. Another thing that is, that we've done this year is our gross motor room for all of our kids to wear off energy. On those rainy days, we have a schedule so that all 5 classes have somewhere to go on a rainy day. So when they're supposed to be outside for recess, they all know that there's 5 rooms and we have a schedule, so they all get that movement. But our gross motor room is, for some of you that might not know, it's up in the art room. So we have it kind of divided off, and the kids that want to ride the scooters are on the tile. And so it's been, it's worked well. And lastly, I would just say ECFE, we have that going every Tuesday night, so families are enrolled in that. That's held by Megan Olgart. She has taught for us for a few years, so she's doing that on Tuesday nights. So, but preschool is very, very, very busy. It's a good busy. So I chuckle. Some teachers, you'll see, we use EduClimber, like a system where if there's a behavior you can enter it or whatever. I chuckle when I see 3-year-old sent to the principal's office, sent to the lab. I say, okay, guys, I don't know if that's working. Maybe let's go for a walk. But yeah, it's a good busy when you see all those little faces in the hallway.
Well, they're building lots of wonderful relationships. I am out doing either morning patrol or morning drop-off with my kids, and also in the afternoons, and when I can make it to the Dilworth site, and a lot of those little preschoolers are running out, giving hugs, or super excited to get here and give hugs to the staff. More happy, so I think the detriment to their mothers that they're so excited to come to school and not maybe be my mom, but I know that feeling.
Yeah, and one thing we transitioned, and I probably shared this before, but is they all used to sit on a bench in the Rebel Road. And I'll tell you, you walk in there with 107 kids, it's loud. So we moved them all into the depot, and it's just made them, it's just so much better. It's better for them if some of them are runners and they're running. At least they can run in the gym, so it's been a good transition. So.
Seems like it's going very well.
Yeah. But when you got a good team, they all step up at any time to help out, and so it makes my job a lot easier.
Any questions for Tracy?
I just want to say I'm happy with the numbers too, because it kind of gives us, as we talked about, the daycare and the Rebel Kids Care, and now what we're doing here with the TOTS and the school readiness and all that. It just gives us a little bit more of a heads up to what's coming. Okay, those numbers are solid, they're good, that gives us some peace into next year. Which is, for me, a big deal.
Well, I'm talking to a couple of the teachers, the younger grade teachers at some sporting events. They've mentioned how they can tell which kids have gone through our program and understand and have a good idea of what our school looks like, what the Rebel Way looks like, because they're having less of those behaviors in the classroom in that kindergarten and first grade levels than they had seen previously. Still other problems, I'm sure, but some of those following the line, understanding where the lunchroom is and all of those little pieces, they said they were seeing less of that.
Yeah, but I would say too, a huge shout out, this year was a change for us, as now all of our preschool paras and our preschool teachers, all, with the exception of sped paras, they all go to lunch at the same time. So now, Shannon Nowak, her staff are assigned a table, so when we walk in there with preschoolers, you walk in and you sit at your table and your plate is there, ready for you. And our sped para from each one of our rooms is at their table. But Shannon Nowak also has a lunch lady at each table monitoring, and so, I mean, it's made it, the scheduling a lot better, and it's been just a big support for all of us to have them in there, so kudos to her on that too. So.
Any other questions for Tracy? All right, thank you, Tracy.
Thanks, man.
All right, we'll go on to 6.4, board committee reports. First is personnel, and we can do this. We had a long discussion about consent agenda or coaching. And right now, it's just worth noting that hopefully you had a chance to read that head coach has the right to have any decision made on them within 60 days of the end of the season. And so we talked a little bit about, are we really approving them, or are we just getting sort of notification? We're not really approving them like we do normal hires. And I guess we don't do that with teachers every year, that they're on the contract. But trying to set up a process with evaluations due from the activities director to the superintendent within 30 days of the end of the season. And the superintendent will notify the board recommendations for renewal from the activities director.
Just to play off of that, I met with Katie the following day, and so she has it all in her calendar, so it'll all be done within that 30 days, so then there's another 30 days if anything had to be, different decision needed to be made regarding a coach. So she'll have it all wrapped up, done within 30 days, and then if she comes to me and says, Shannon's probably not our person for this, or I've had a lot of issues with Shannon, and so I'd like to recommend that they get put on an improvement plan, or Shannon gets, we're gonna ask him to step down because we've had this conversation before. Then as a board, we still have 30 days to act on that if we need to, so. Okay.
All right, we also talked about negotiations, upcoming negotiations will be with the non-certified group, and Shannon's been working a little bit with them. I've been working with them a little bit over the past year, I guess, but we're looking probably to start that in 2026, most likely. Current staffing needs, playground supervisor, middle school, 1 or 2 paras, high school, 1 para, and food service. Looking for a sub. And of course, this was 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, and so some things have happened since then, and there's been some interviews I know since then too, so I think even as we look at our board action tonight, there's some of those people that have been hired since that meeting.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Any questions on the personnel? Did I get everything? For the most part?
Yeah, the other group, so it's the non-certified and then the administration too. The school admin contracts will be sometime this spring as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep. Okay, we'll go on to board committee report for the wellness committee.
Yeah, we had a first really good meeting of the school year. Not a whole lot to report in yet because kids are getting situated and stuff. Just wanted to take a minute. Again, I know Shannon talked about it at the top, but to thank Aubrey. She's also part of the wellness committee. So really engaged, very insightful, provides a lot of good insight into what's going on to the school from the students' perspective. So thanks and congratulations again to Aubrey. Lots of good conversation around the positive community norms and the grant associated with that. So it's good to see a lot of positive change with vaping and all those conversations, so that's really great to see. And then a lot of really positive things to say about Shannon and our food services program. It seems we have one of the best in the state. So again, thanks again to Shannon for all of her work.
Great to hear. Any questions for the Wellness Committee? All right, we'll go on to 6.5, Superintendent.
All right, first one on there is MSBA conference is January 16th and 17th.
January 15 and 16.
Like Brooke said, 15 and 16, not the 16th and 17th. So January 15th and 16th, if that is something that works for you or you're able to attend that with us, that would be great.
I want to mention too, registration opens next week, so the earlier the better to let you know.
And it is,
Tons of time.
it is, it's a good opportunity to learn new things, of course, but then just also to get to know board members better, and I really enjoyed it.
And so so there's a couple more items here, but I'll go skip right to letter C, which is land swap. This is with our school district and Morehead School District. Some of the swapping's been going on. Tonight in our facilities and transportation committee meeting, we'll talk more in depth about it. But the reason I bring it up now is because MSBA's conference, Brandon Lunick and I met with the county last week to talk about those sections that are still not swapped, what the difference is in those dollars and whatnot. Ellers has the numbers for both districts and the impact it'll have on us and or on Morehead's district. And at the MSBA conference, we were hoping whoever Morehead has down as school board members and whoever we have down as school board members, we can have a little informal conversation with Ellers. They can kind of walk us through those digits and kind of where we're at and anything where they feel there's some recommendations potentially there. And again, it's nothing, no decisions are being made, but it's just to kind of break the ice, so they get to hear us a little bit, we get to hear them. Ellers gives us the actual numbers, and so, I don't know, hopefully we can slowly work towards a timeline of when this could potentially happen, so, okay? So I kind of skipped B, community meeting, so we did have our community meeting last week, Tuesday. It was better attended. I would say there was about 30-ish people there. Probably 10 to 15 staff and board members maybe, if you guys were there, and then maybe the other half was public. So, good questions. I wish the place could be packed. And the only reason I say that is I want to hear everything, right? And so we have to answer people, because obviously there's questions out there. We know that. I want to be able to answer them. And if I can't answer them, I need to be able to go find that answer so I can, they get to make a decision still, because we don't always like the answers we get. I get that. But I just want them to be informed and understand why we're even asking, right? It's so important. So they at least have the knowledge, right? We always say we want to vote or you want to make a decision based on being informed and educated. So anyway, it was positive. I don't know if anybody that was there wants to share a little bit about it or not.
One thing was that I know there's a couple people that were asked some questions or whatever, and I did get, after the fact or here this week, whoever got brought up, how, we followed up with them. So it was really nice to hear that it was followed up on some questions or whatever. So I appreciate that from you and your team or whatever that did that.
Yeah, and we're still working on one thing. There's a lot of questions about open enrollment. We answered some of that there. There were some that we had to dig in a little deeper. And so that's what Marcus and I are still working on. Because it does affect other things, and I just want to make sure I have all that information before I do visit. But I did respond to a couple of them right away, yeah. So,
I would say largely, I didn't get a chance to attend, but largely I've heard very positive things. And at least in my social media world, I've only seen positive comments and sharing our, look at this website to get information and kind of pushing that piece. Vote yes for our kids, a lot of very positive feedback from our community. So I'm happy to hear that there's been a lot of support and understanding, because they had even recapped some of the information that they had learned, either through the website or conversations. So at least people are getting informed, and I feel like even if they aren't attending those meetings, or at least talking to others who maybe have attended the meetings or looked at the website. I don't know how much activity we've seen on the website itself.
It's upticking for sure. We had that meeting this morning. It is, each month, it's gotten substantially more. And already this month, we're almost at 300. Last month, we had a total of 600 by the end. They think it's definitely upticked, which again, is information, right? And so people are at least going out to that. So, yeah, so that's, I mean,
Being informed is really important, and I just really have seen a lot of that information, and not just like a share, but a recap of some sort of what they found was pertinent information, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
No, good, yeah.
Out of the meeting, I came out of the meeting feeling good. I felt like the overall feeling was very positive, which I thought was really good. I also just wanted to say, like, no stone was unturned in notifying people that the meeting was happening, like the phone calls, the emails, like, you all went above and beyond just to make sure that everybody knew the date, the time, the location of that meeting, which is wonderful, because now the opportunity was there multiple times, and the website is also available. So anyway, just to thank you for all the work and I know you're putting into for that.
One piece of information, I think Troy brought this up too, in the agriculture community, there's a little bit of confusion about how agricultural property will be taxed or would be taxed if it passes. It's just, your homestead and 1 acre, not your entire farmland. So there's still a little bit of confusion, I think, out there, or concern amongst some. And I think that message probably started to get out there that, no, we're not talking about a capital levy referendum where that would affect the entire agricultural real estate. It's just, 1 acre in your home.
Yeah, and just to play off all of that, at our meeting this morning, we talked about what is it gonna be like now, the last few weeks here now before the actual vote, right? And we're gonna do an FAQ here. I'm either gonna send that out, it'll go tomorrow or Wednesday. Just frequently asked questions and doing that. We're gonna hit a little open enrollment stuff, so that can hit. And we're also gonna hit that eggplant tax thing, just another reminder, it's kind of like, if you're like me, I gotta hear it 3 or 4 times, and hey, honey, I remember now. We're all busy, right? And Angela, thanks for saying what you said too, because I just wanna make sure that people had that opportunity, right? And they get to choose. It didn't work that night, it didn't do this. There's a place they could watch the video if they wanted, we have it posted on our website. I mean, it's not very riveting, but you can watch it if you really wanna know, right? And so, I just want people to be informed. And so, hopefully, those that want to are, I guess it's the only other way I can say it, probably.
Yeah, my wife asked me if I was going to the meeting, so if my wife knew about it, she's usually relying on me for information, so she's telling me that, are you going to the meeting?
So anyway, that was, I guess it was good, and right now we're not planning to have another one. We did discuss that this morning, if it would be advantageous. So we're gonna do some more directed messaging, not just on social media. It's gonna go to our entire district, just like we would if it was a late start. We're just gonna have a push once a week, just a reminder, and then here's some information. Just a reminder, and here's some other information. So we're gonna hopefully answer a few of those questions that might be outlying still. And just reminding people, here's your opportunity.
For anybody that is listening, that calculator is super slick. So if there's any questions on what is this going to cost me, the calculator tells you everything you need to know. So just take a minute, look at your land, see what it is, go to the calculation.
I agree. And it is, I even figured it out, right? So, it is super easy.
Yes.
It is. And so,
User-friendly.
Yes.
yeah, so that's nice. It's the other way to make this informative and real, right? So you can find, the staff survey, so I sent that out to staff just saying, what are you hearing? What are your concerns? What are your questions, statements? Anything goes. And so last week I was able to meet with the elementary staff. I met with the middle school staff. Tomorrow morning I meet here with the high school staff to go through things that were shared anonymously with me. And so it was good. So then I went through it and I answered those questions when I met with the elementary and the middle school. I asked them there too, if you have something different that, if you don't feel comfortable in the crowd, I get it. is still available. Go in there and say you're anonymous, that's fine. If you want to have a conversation with me and ask me questions, ask me. I just want everybody to know. And so, sound like a broken record, but it's true, that's what I want. So, anyway, whatever you decide after that is up to you. The one thing I added a little before questions is somebody mentioned, Angela just did, about Shannon and food service. And so we are getting our milk from Finn Farms out of Monaga. Shannon and I are going to their farm on Friday. So during MEA, her and I are going to take a little trip over to Monaga and meet the family and see how they do it. So it'll be kind of fun. It'll be neat. We'll get some pictures or whatever, just so I know where our milk's coming from, I guess. So that'll be cool. Yeah. So that's it. Questions for me, if there are any.
All right, we'll go on to number 7, approval of minutes. This is to approve the regular meeting on September 22nd, 2025. Do I have a motion? So motion by Nicole, do I have a second? By Troy. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to number 8, consent agenda. This is a motion to approve the bills for October 2025 in the amount of
$231,641.45.
the treasurer's monthly budget report, is approved and filed for audit. It's in your packet. The resignations, to approve the resignation of Sheila Butenhoff, paraprofessional, effective October 15, 2025. And approve the resignation of Don Hayes, food service, effective October 15, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, do I have a second? Second by Troy. Any questions or discussion?
Thank you to Sheila and Don for their service to our community. I don't know Don personally, but I have worked with Sheila before, and she's super fabulous, and she has scooped up some of the senior boys too to get involved with the special ed kids and getting them involved in their community in different ways, so she will be missed.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On new and unfinished business, 9.1, this is a motion to approve the second reading of the 2025-2026 certified seniority list that's in your packet. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Brittany, do I have a second? Second by Micah. Any questions or discussion?
How often will that list be revisited? Or like if there's, obviously it'll be a year change, but if there are any changes beyond that, how does that work now that's approved?
Yeah. Like, well,
If some teacher sees it and has a question.
yep, so they've had it for a while. Teachers had it, so then if there were any questions, they would have asked us. And they know we had one reading, then we say, hey, you still got 2 weeks, is there any concerns? And they didn't, there was nothing we got from them, so it'll stay this way, and then next year, if there were changes that happened between now and then, it'll be updated, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's just no opportunity, like if a teacher, it just slipped their mind and, that's fine, I was just curious.
No, it's a good question.
You know, it does get sent out to them, and then if it slips their mind, yeah, I guess they get a month basically to tell us.
Yep, and then if not, then they get 1 year to review.
I don't think there's much discrepancy, like in your certification area and when your license expires, like.
Yeah, the only thing sometimes is, gee, I thought I was hired before Brittany. We were hired the same year, but the date, sometimes there's some of that, but
Well, I know we talked
usually.
about like, if you were teaching in a private school, some of those conversations too,
sure.
right? So
Yep.
things that have come up that
Yeah,
are
where they
maybe
got
not as
placed.
clear in the reporting, those types of things is what I was curious about.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, in seniority, it's just hire date here. So that's what this list is.
Yes.
So it's not like, how many years did we give Brittany experience? No, it doesn't matter for us. She was hired on this day. So if I was hired before her, but she's got way more experience, I still was hired before her. That makes,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Good question.
No, but it's fair, yeah.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to 9.2, this is to approve the non-certified contract for J.C. Mickelson, paraprofessional, class 2, step 2, effective October 6, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Troy, do I have a second? Brittany. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? motion carries. On to 9.3, this is to approve the non-certified contract for Christina Meta, food service class 1, step 1, effective September 29th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, do I have a second? And second by Angela. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to 9.4, this is to approve the resolution for a Form A grant to the Minnesota State High School League Foundation. Form A grant, Katie talked about this, but whereas the Minnesota State High School League Foundation was formed to provide support for the Minnesota high school youth to participate in athletics and fine arts, the governing board of DGF recognizes the value of student participation in these activities. Whereas the Minnesota State High School League Foundation is offering grants and funding to assist schools in recognizing, promoting, and funding extracurricular participation by high school students in athletic and fine arts programs. Therefore, be it resolved, the governing board of Dilworth Glen Felton Schools supports the school's application to the Minnesota State High School League Foundation for a Form A grant to offset student activity fees. Do I have a motion? Motion by Brittany, second by Nicole.
Second.
All right, any questions or discussion? Now, this resolution will go by roll call. Troy? Aye. Nicole?
Aye.
David? Aye. Brittany? Aye. Micah? Angela?
Aye.
Resolution passes. On 9.5, this is to approve the resolution for a Form B grant to the Minnesota State High School League. Largely, the language here is almost identical. And I'll just read the therefore be resolved that the governing board of Dilworth Glen Felton Schools supports the school's application to the Minnesota State High School League Foundation for a Form B grant. Do I, any questions or just, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brittany. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to roll call. Troy? Aye. Nicole?
Aye.
David? Aye. Brittany? Micah?
Aye.
Angela?
You had a trick question there to yourself.
Resolution passes. Stump the speaker, that's for sure. Okay. All right, 9.6, this is to approve the non-certified contract for Allison Franz for professional class 2, step 3, effective October 7, 2009. Do I have a motion? Motion by Troy, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Micah. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On 9.7, this is to approve the non-certified contract for Brandon Holler, playground supervisor, class 2, step 1, effective October 8th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Brittany. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Nicole. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.8, this is to approve the donations in our packet as presented. And I will get to these. Whereas Minnesota State statute provides the board can receive items of benefit to the district for the purpose presented and apply the same to the purpose designated. The board may act as trustee of any trust for the benefit of the district, benefit of the pupils thereof, including trusts, and to provide pupils with the district with advanced education after completion of high school and advancement of education. And whereas Minnesota Statute 465.03 provides any city council, school district, town may accept a grant or devise a real personal property and maintain such property for the benefit of the citizens in accordance with the terms prescribed by the donor. Nothing herein shall authorize such acceptance or use for religious or sectarian purposes. And whereas every such acceptance shall be by resolution of the governing body adopted by 2/3 majority of its members expressing such terms in full. Therefore, be it resolved that the school board of Dilworth Glen Felton Public Schools, Independent School District 2164, gratefully accepts the following donations as identified below. The donations are from Caboose on the Loose, in the amount of $500 for DGF cross country, and from Shields in the amount of $3,000 worth of winter gear for elementary students. Awesome. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, do I have a second?
I'll
by
second.
Brittany? All right, any questions or discussion?
Did we not approve the caboose on the loose one last meeting?
I think it's just another one, isn't it?
So they forgot to give us the money last year, so they gave us the money from last year first, and then we just received the donation for this year's once they finished up all the stuff.
Right.
There
Awesome.
was an oversight for last year.
So good memory.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
Good job.
really good memory.
Well,
Yes.
Moose on the Loose is part of Bio Girls, and so I know it's like an annual thing, so I was like, it seems weird, I remember that last meeting, so.
Well, we thank them and we
Yes, for sure.
certainly thank Shields for their generosity.
For sure.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll go by roll call. Troy? Aye. Nicole?
Aye.
Dave? Aye. Brittany?
Aye.
Good. Angela?
Way better, way better.
Resolution passed. All right, we'll go on to 9.9. This is to approve the non-certified contract for Carly Steinfeld, paraprofessional, class 2, step 5, effective October 27, 2025. Do I have a motion? Motion by Troy. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Angela. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On number 10, board comments, future agenda items. Next board meeting is Monday, October 27th, 2025, here at 6 o'clock at the DGF Community Room. And the Policies Committee meeting, 10.2 here, will follow the school board meeting in the same site here in the DGF Community Room. All right, on to number 11. This is a motion to approve the regular meeting of the Dilworth Glenfeld School Board adjournment. Motion by Nicole. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Angela. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned.